What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 38 of my ranking and reviewing the Grateful Dead's Dave's Picks, the archival concert release series. I'm on 38 because I'm doing them in order. I'm going to talk about 38, then I will rank 38 compared to the other 37 that I've already done. Whoever's idea, whoever's idea it was to rank the Dave's Picks, that was a stupid idea, Shaggy. I mean, this is a 73 show. We get a 73 show, 9/8/73, September 8, 73, with a bunch of songs from the previous show, September 7th, 73. And it's another one of those where, like, well, I'm going to rank it really high based on the show. But then we got all this bonus material, including a bonus disc that just absolutely next levels it. This is 1973 Grateful Dead. Like, I don't know if there's, maybe for me, there is one song that I would pick out of this and rank as possibly, arguably, a favorite version of that song. But I don't know if there's that many songs where you're like, oh, this is the definitive this, or this is the definitive this. There's a couple debuts, which are pretty nice. But, like, everything is just high level, high energy, 1973 Grateful Dead, just perfection. In this particular performance, Keith in particular sounds fantastic. A lot of great electric piano work throughout this that just sounds phenomenal, especially in a lot of like the closing jams of things. Keith is just kind of stepping in, and him and Jerry seem to have a particularly good conversation going throughout the entire show, in which there are moments where Jerry will start a solo or maybe we'll enter a solo territory and Keith will take over for a while. And it seems like when Jerry comes in, it's very conversational, like he's trying to engage Keith in the jam, and they interplay for a while. And usually Jerry ends up just taking over and just like taking off soaring, as Jerry's want to do, but never complain. And Keith's still there in the background, filling in the spots. Keith, particularly strong shout out from the beginning. First set, particularly. The first set, which has a couple jammy songs, which usually aren't present. I think we get one of the only Eyes of the World, one of the very few Eyes of the World in the first set. That happens in this first set. But it's just a bunch of really good, well-played songs that Keith's presence makes better. Bobby on rhythm also needs a particular shout out. I don't know if it's the mix. I don't know if everybody's just feeling themselves tonight and everybody's stepping forward. But Bobby's rhythm play, just all over the place in the best way possible. Once we get to the second set, things like Ramble on Road, he jumps out on. Tennessee Jet is playing is absolutely ridiculous. Like, he is just adding a lot of flavor to what are quote unquote standard Dead songs, which are always good, but they're just that much better. Phil, of course, is always good, bringing some fat bass sounds in every once in a while. He seems to have a pretty good fat tone every once in a while. Jerry, of course, is fantastic. Bill is fantastic. Like, the band is just top notch. Set list wise, the entire first set takes up all of disc 1 plus 20 plus minutes on disc 2. So we open up with a really good high energy Bertha, get a Me and My Uncle, get a really good Sugaree. This is a 73 Sugaree, so we're still not, like, we'll double the length of this Sugaree by the time we get to like 77. But it's still a great song. The energy is good. It's stretching out a little bit. This one reaches 8 minutes. Some really good energy in it. Beat It On Down the Line, always fun. Tennessee Jed, never. I mean, this is, in doing the Dick's Picks and the Dave's Picks, if there are songs that have gone from things I've enjoyed to things I know are always going to bring it, Tennessee Jed is now up in there. And, like, it's always Tennessee Jed, but it's always going to be like a pivotal moment in the first set that's either going to like capitalize on the energy and make it better, turn the energy around and make it better, or be like the one thing in a set that's energetic that you're like, well, at least there's a Tennessee Jed. This is one of those that's just riding the wave of perfection. Looks Like Rain. Torn on Looks Like Rain. Bob's good. A Brown Eyed Women, a Jack Straw, a nice Road Jimmy that is a pretty sweet little jam at the Road Jimmy at the end. Definitely not getting to where we would get later on in like the 80s with that really cool funk, but really nice Road Jimmy energy. Then we get the first ever, the debut of Weather Report Suite. Let It Grow debuted the night before. Just Let It Grow. The Weather Report Suite Prelude debuted the previous year and a handful of times earlier in the year. This is the first time we get the entire thing. Sounds pretty good. Good solid 15 minutes. Really nice jam at the end. There are moments when it seems like they're not really sure how to jam it. Like, it seems like there's a tendency at one point, I think it's in like the main jam, where it seems like we might sort of be disintegrating or kind of heading towards like a playing type jam, that sort of looseness, which is not what Let It Grow is about. It's definitely a more, I think there's a more sort of energetic core around like your Let It Grow jams. So we're flirting with that. We're still figuring out, what exactly we're going to do. But other than that, it just sounds absolutely fantastic. Then we get an Eyes of the World after that. Just a great, upbeat, rollicking, high energy Eyes. And then that goes into a China Doll. And we get a China Doll. Eyes of the World into China Doll to close out the first set. And it's just like, you're getting like the best versions of all these songs. Like none of them are weak. None of them are tepid. They're all just like the band is in top-notch form. And really, if you have a complaint, it's because maybe you just don't like Looks Like Rain. And even a stellar version of that is not going to convince you. But this is just a solid first set. Go on to the second set. Get a great, this is still on disc 2, greatest story ever told. Love that as an opener for the second set. Like it better in the first set, but I think it's a really good song, really good opening. Nice little funky jam at the end. Really good Ramble on Rose, where Bob in particular just sounds fantastic. We get a Big River. We get a Let Me Sing Your Blues Away. Pretty nice to hear this little song. Doesn't pop up all that often. I don't know. Maybe we got one more on the Dave's pick, or I think this might be the first Dave's. This might be the first time it's ever been released. This is the God Shall song. Yeah, I think this might be the first ever live version of this we've ever heard. That's interesting. Yeah. So we get a Let Me Sing Your Blues Away for the first time released, if I'm not mistaken. Keith Godshall song. We get a really nice China Rider that has some really good energy in it. Really nice jam in the China as per 73. We get an El Paso. And then we have a bonus track, which is from the previous show. We get a 13-minute bird song that just soars. The jam is so beautiful. We would only have a handful of these left before they would abandon this song until the 80s, inexplicably, because this is just like, it's gorgeous. It's awesome energy. Great song. It's from the previous show, but it's the final track on disc 2 as a bonus track. Again, we get the debut of Weather Report Suite. We get the first live release of Let Me Sing Your Blues Away. We get a fantastic bird song, which wouldn't be sticking around for very much longer. Like, just a first set Eyes of the World so far. Awesome first 2 discs. Then we get disc 3. We get a He's Gone to open up disc 3. And that He's Gone jam is just... like, it's Keith, it's Jerry, it's beautiful. It's just everything you want out of a He's Gone jam. Like, not going into that, like, sort of... every once in a while, Jerry's flirting, like, maybe he'll go bluesy, but he never does. He stays pretty upbeat. We get a nice segue into Truckin'. Truckin' is Truckin'. Truckin', there's 2 Truckins on this. There's the one on the 7th, and there's the one on the 8th. I gotta remember which is which. Let me quickly check my notes and remember which Truckin' does which. I'll be right back. The Truckin' on the 8th, the one on the sort of official release, it's not the bonus disc. This is the one that, awesome, just a great jam. But this is 73, and it would be, 5-6 years before the song would appear. I swear there's a full-on I Need a Miracle jam, just like about to happen. It just sounds like there's this dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, like we're like playing that, like it's definitely a derivative of the Truckin' riff, but it's really flirting with an I Need a Miracle energy. And because it doesn't go into I Need a Miracle, the energy works really, really well. And it's just this awesome, just kind of soaring Truckin' jam that's just absolutely fantastic. That goes into a really nice, loose, free, jazzy, just a flowing, not fade away. The transition into going down the road feeling bad is a little like it almost feels like they might go into something else or like they just might stop and do something else. So the segue from not fade away into going down the road maybe could use a little bit of work, but once we get into going down the road feeling bad, things get better, and then we finish off with not fade away. And then for the encore, we get a Stella Blue as an encore, just straight up Stella Blue, followed by a One More Saturday Night, which is just odd. But Stella Blue, nice encore. Then as a bonus track, also from September 7th, we get a nice juicy 18-minute playing in the band. And this playing in the band, Jerry is like almost in a different mindset than I think he is with a lot of other plans, because throughout the entire jam, it is very, I don't want to say it's Jerry led because everybody is just kind of going and doing their thing. But Jerry, of course, is, always sort of the dominant player. But a lot of times throughout this solo, he'll like he'll play a lick and like repeat it like over and over and over and over and over and over and over, which is something Jerry usually does not do. And it's interesting because like if that happened with Fish for the most part, and Trey started going doo 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 doot, doo 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 doot, doo 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 doot, doo 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 doot, everybody in the band would start going doo 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 doot, and it would twist and it would Escher like. But this is like Jerry will just focus on this lick and go doo 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 doot, doo 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 doot, and the rest of the band's just like flailing away around him and just kind of keeps on moving. But Jerry's just here in like one place, just like focusing on this lick. And there might be a little call and response with like Phil or maybe Bob will do something. But for the most part, the band responds very sort of like not as extreme as they would with a band like Fish. And so it's really interesting because it's a different style of a different attack mode with Jerry. Just feels like he's approaching this playing a little bit different. And it gives it a fresh feel. It makes it feel alive. It just makes it feel like we're in a little bit of a different space than we normally would be with playing in the band. And of course, by 74, we'd be dropping like a 45-minute playing. So, they're looking to do crazy things with playing. But this is one of those really interesting, like you got to check out this playing if you're sort of a playing historian. That's the bonus track on disc 3, a 20-minute playing in the band. The bonus disc is 8 tracks from the September 7th show. We get a Here Comes Sunshine, which emphasizes the sunshine aspect of it. I think there are versions, and I think the one on the very first Dick's Picks track ever on Volume 1, that Here Comes Sunshine, to me that always reminded me of like the flood. The song's about a flood that comes, and now, hey, here comes sunshine, we're celebrating. That version on Dick's Picks 1, to me, musically depicts the flood. Seems like there's angst in there. There's like anxiety. It's like, you're feeling stressed out. This is all about the sunshine. Flood's over. Here comes the sunshine. It's upbeat. It's happy. Jerry, of course, is just going off. It just feels absolutely perfect. Then we get the first ever Let It Grow, a debut Let It Grow. Really nice Let It Grow. They're jamming it out. It feels really good. As soon as we hit that last jam, it almost seems like that level almost drops immediately. Like again, they don't know what are we supposed to do here. Is the jam supposed to rise? Are we heading into something like straight ahead with the same energy? Are we dropping it? And it feels like there's a little bit of drop in the energy, but then Jerry kind of keeps going at it and like sustains it. So while it feels like it might be like a decline, it's more like we're going to drop and then just stay at this lower level. And they jam that out pretty well. And it's got some pretty good Jerry playing. Keith jumps in. Bob sounds great. Phil's dropping some pretty thick bass at some point. But then that eventually slides into like a Stella Blue. So we get another Stella Blue. Pretty nice Stella Blue. Though I have to think this is probably one of those Stellas which, considering what else is in this set and considering what else is on the show, one of the most sort of like placeholder Stellas that I think I've heard. But I love Stellas. Then we get a trucking, fantastic trucking, good just attack trucking, going at it, high energy at the end. That first one on the 8th, it was weird because it didn't feel like it ever maintained like that trucking peak where it's like and then we like dun dun, we explode. It felt like it kept flirting with that, but never actually dropped into that. And so that was interesting about the 8th, and I don't think I brought them up. This one is more of a typical truck and jam, pretty strong, goes into drums. Drums is pretty kind of even keel. Then kind of out of nowhere, right when drums wraps up, or I actually don't know if this is the full drums. This is probably the full drums. Like 2.5 minutes is 73. It's probably the full drums. Out of nowhere, we get a really kind of a muted fill bass run. We drop the bomb. We're into the other one, jam. There's no vocals. They just jam out the other one. It's pretty pedal to the metal for the whole time. Starts to slow down in the middle and maybe just like, all right, it's just an endurance contest. But again, Jerry's up for the length of it. A good, nice 7-minute other one. Then after that, we get what I think it's easily the highlight of this. It's on the bonus disc, which always makes me question when I get to ranking it. We get an Eyes of the World that is just like awesome. Like 19 minutes long. There is a point where Jerry and Keith, and they are going off, and they are going off, and they are going off. And you think they're about to like drop into like the Stronger Than Dirt jam, and they go off some more, and they go off some more. And then you feel like they're going to drop into the Stronger Than Dirt jam, and they go off some more. And then you're like, well, maybe they're not going to drop into the Stronger Than Dirt jam because this thing's going away. And then they drop into the Stronger Than Dirt jam, and you're just like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like this Eyes of the World is just like epic, high energy, 73. And every time Jerry has a chance to like go off, Jerry just goes off, and Keith's there with him, and Phil's dropping some great bass runs, and like the entire band is just like, they're invested in this. And then we get a sugar mag to wrap things up. And that's the bonus disc, those 8 tracks. This is a fantastic release. This is just pure, uncut, unadulterated, just like Grateful Dead at its finest. How this stuck around until volume 38, like at some point, this had to be on a list, and they're just like, well, let's just keep waiting. We'll eventually get this. We got to make sure we got good stuff to release at the end. This is such a fantastic release. Where would I rank it? I would put it right there. It is at number 10. I had to put it in the top 10. I dropped it to number 10 only because other than the Eyes of the World, which I think there still are better Eyes in the world out there, though this is up there, maybe top 10. It doesn't really have that one standout, you must hear this track. The playing in the band is fantastic, and I think Jerry's doing stuff he normally doesn't do. The Eyes of the World is next level. We got a couple great debuts. We got the first time we heard a Keith song. So there's a lot of really great things to love about this release, and there's nothing to not like about this release. But as far as having that one definitive jam, I'm not sure that's here. And usually I would penalize a release even more for that, but this is such a good show. And it's one of those cases like, why might 73 be the Dead's best year? And this is my piece of evidence, number 1. Evidence A. So anyways, that's where I'd rank it. And number 10. But anyways, I'm going to quickly check my notes because I want to say I forgot something else really important about that. Hold on. I did just notice that Marshall's been here for the whole video. That's Marshall, you guys. Yeah, I got that sticker today. I'm going to put him right here. So yeah, I didn't miss anything. One of the things I did write down is there's a point in Eyes of the World where Jerry, like after they've been jamming for a while, Jerry starts playing like the Eyes chords again, and Keith just starts going off on this really nice spacey-ish piano work, and it's just like Jerry's just playing this rhythm work, and oh, it's just so beautiful. Then Jerry again starts soloing again, and they're off. But one of the things in that Eyes that are really, really sweet. But anyways, that's all I got. Fantastic release. Top 10 out of 38. I can see if you ranked it higher. Don't understand if you ranked it lower, but it's fantastic. But that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts on the show, all that kind of stuff. You know how comments work. And go listen to it if you have a chance, because it is amazing. But thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all that stuff, and I will talk to you later. Peace.